I know that it's gonna happen this month. I can go into labor any day, any second. Hi, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my birth story video. I'm actually filming this video when I'm already several months postpartum. I tried filming it when I was only 1 month postpartum, and I just didn't have enough energy and I didn't have enough time to sit down and film it. I'm gonna talk about my experience, sharing only the details about me, about my labor, about the recovery process at the hospital. And let me tell you in advance, everything is fine with me, with my baby, but this is not a typical positive birth story video where everything went smooth and according to plan. It just didn't go according to plan. During those 9.5 months of my pregnancy, I had been preparing for a so-called natural delivery. I was doing all of those breathing techniques and I did yoga. I continued staying active, going to the gym. I did cardio to work on my endurance. I learned different laboring positions and mind tricks. On that day when my labor started, actually the night before my labor started, I went to bed, I fell asleep. Everything was normal like it usually was. So I fell asleep and I woke up around 1 a.m. because of stomach pain. I felt like I went to some shady place to get some food and now I had stomach ache. I tried to go back to sleep, but after an hour of not being able to fall asleep and after an hour of this discomfort, I got up and I started timing my contractions. Even though I was not sure if this was an early labor or Braxton Hicks contractions, because this was only my first pregnancy. Still, I brought my bags closer to the door. I called my midwife. I told her that probably I'm about to give birth, but I'm not sure. She said that it was early on. It was way too early to tell. So I just continued timing my contractions. And again, I tried to go back to sleep. My midwife told me to try and get more sleep. I just could not fall asleep. So I was just sitting in the living room, timing my contractions from time to time. So I did that for about 2 hours and then I called my midwife again. I told her that I was gonna come to the hospital. The reason for that was my contractions were so close apart. They were about 3 to 4 minutes apart, which is way too close. And I felt that I am about to give birth. So I was in a rush to get to the hospital. I didn't want to give birth at home. This was my first pregnancy. This was my first labor. I didn't want to experience it at home without any medical support around me. I decided to go to the hospital because I just could feel that this is not a false labor, even though it could be. I heard that false labor and real labor can be very similar. While I was at home and I was bringing all of the bags and getting my coconut water from the fridge, I had a clear mind. As soon as we left, I can say that my mind was not as clear as it was. As soon as the door locked, my mind was kind of blurry. I guess I was very excited. My hormones were all over the place. I remember walking from the apartment to the car, and then I don't remember how we got to the hospital. It was about 10 minutes drive, so it was not a long drive, but still I don't remember anything. I don't remember what we were talking about. I don't remember what music was playing. I don't remember what I saw out the window. Well, it was night, so probably I just saw street lights. Still, I don't remember anything that happened during those 10 minutes. I was planning to give birth at a birthing center, but they have this rule where you have to first come to kind of an emergency room in the labor and delivery unit. By the time when we got from the first floor to, I think it was 6th floor, to the labor and delivery floor, I was already in pain. Normally I would not be on my knees on a hospital floor, but I was on my knees on the hospital floor waiting for the nurses to come and bring me to the room where they checked my blood pressure, checked how the labor was going. I changed from my outside clothes into the hospital gown. They gave me non sleep socks. And I want to remind you that my mind was kind of blurry. I think my whole body was focusing on the laboring, on this process, and I could not understand what the doctors were asking, what nurses were asking. It felt like someone turned my brain off. I was in so much pain that I thought that I was already 10 centimeters dilated, or at least 8 centimeters dilated, and that I was ready to start pushing. When they checked, I was only 3 centimeters. Usually, they send the patients who are only 3 centimeters back home to labor at home and then come back later, but because I was in so much pain, they thought that it's better for me to stay at the hospital. I remember that I stayed at that room for a very long time, and according to the pictures and the videos that I have, I was there for about an hour and a half before they transferred me to another room. I wanted to give birth at a birthing center, but they didn't have enough nurses who could come with me to the birthing center, and I had elevated blood pressure, so I could not labor in a birth tub. So they transferred me to another room on the same floor at a labor and delivery unit, not to a birthing center. Even though I stayed on the labor and delivery floor, the midwives came from the birthing center to the hospital room. You've probably seen how labor starts in movies. A woman is just doing her normal thing, and then a gush of water splashes on the floor. Well, in real life, it can happen anytime. My water broke not like it happens in the movies, but when I was already at the hospital, either in the first room or in the delivery room, as soon as your water breaks, the pain level increases. And because I was already in so much pain, it was almost unbearable for me. After laboring for about 2.5 to 3 hours in this pain, I was sure that it's time to push because the pain level increased so much. Apparently, I was only halfway there, so it was way too early to start pushing. And I realized that I can't do it anymore without an epidural. Later, at my 1 week postpartum appointment, I found out that my contractions were as strong as someone's who is about 8 to 10 centimeters and is really ready to push. Usually at around 5 centimeters, the contractions are not as strong as I had them. And by the way, I think I forgot to mention, I had a monitor on my belly to monitor my baby, to see how strong the contractions are. By the time when I got my epidural, I was already exhausted. Some say that getting an epidural is painful. I don't remember that pain. Getting an epidural was such a relief. I was a little bit scared that it's not gonna work. I know in some cases it doesn't work and you continue feeling everything. For me, luckily, the epidural worked. Although I think because I was lying on my back and moving a little bit, the epidural shifted, so I had to call the doctor probably twice to adjust it because I could feel the pain on my left side. Again, I don't remember what I was doing from the time that I got an epidural until the time when I started pushing, but it was about 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. I'm pretty sure I took a nap. Even though I was in the delivery room, not in a birthing center room, I still loved the atmosphere there. Of course, it's a hospital, but still, the atmosphere in this room was nice. There were a lot of windows, a lot of natural light. The sun was shining. We brought essential oils with us. Also, I had lo-fi music playing. So I was relaxed and I was ready to push. I was ready to meet my baby. I know that when I started pushing, the sun was still up, and I was pushing and pushing and pushing. and the sun went down. It was already dark in the room. I was pushing for about 4 hours until it was no longer safe to continue pushing, and my doctors told me that it's time to do an emergency C-section. So I was transferred to an operation room. I was frustrated, but that needed to be done. Again, let me tell you, I could not think clearly. My hormones were all over the place. I was exhausted from laboring without an epidural. I was exhausted from pushing for many hours. I was also, well, we can say on drugs because I had an epidural, and I also had a magnesium IV because I think it was because of my blood pressure. But magnesium IV relaxes you so much. So I can vaguely remember how I was rolled around the hospital halls from the delivery room into the operation room. I remember that nurses asked me if I feel anything when they were numbing me before the C-section. I don't remember waiting for everyone to gather in the operation room. I probably fell asleep, and the next thing that I remember was seeing my baby boy. Because I had an emergency C section, he was taken to another room where the doctors checked on him, and I was passed out. So I don't actually remember waiting for them to bring him to me. I was so happy when they finally brought him to me and I could meet him, see his face. I was planning to do a skin to skin right away, right when I give birth to my baby, but because it was a C-section and it was very cold in the operation room, we had to wait until I was transferred to a recovery room and we did skin to skin, golden hour. We had a lactation consultant coming in to help and establish breastfeeding. This hospital really encourages mothers to breastfeed and they have all of the resources to help you. For example, we had a lactation consultant coming in right away. Then we had another lactation consultant who came in probably the same day or the next day to help again because breastfeeding is not easy. And they also have lactation support by phone. So when I got back home from the hospital, I could call, and I actually called my lactation consultant a couple of times to ask her a couple of questions. You've probably seen those videos about recovering in a postpartum room when nurses come in and out all the time telling you to rest, but then coming back 30 minutes later, an hour later. Well, it really is like that. You don't get any sleep there. You can't relax there. As soon as you start to fall asleep, someone will come in to check either on you or on your baby. And I know that they need to check on me and on my baby. It's just you don't rest there. So the whole time that we stayed there, I really wanted to leave. Plus, because I had an IV machine beeping all the time, so I had to wear earplugs to get at least some sleep. Another thing about IV, so I think I had it in my, yes, I had it in my right hand. It doesn't matter. So I had this IV connected to my hand and my right hand got so swollen that it felt like it's about to explode. It was so painful. I could barely move my hand. I was constantly asking nurses when they're gonna take it out. It was so swollen. It looked so scary. I was so relieved when they took it out. I probably had it for 2 days and they took it out by the end of the second day. No, they took it out by the end of the first day, but it felt like I had it for a month. When they finally took it out, as well as the catheter, it was time for me to stand up, and my legs were numb. I could barely feel my legs. I could barely feel my lower body. My legs were swollen, they were numb, they felt really heavy. I brought my Crocs with me to the hospital and they didn't fit. They barely fit. It was hard to put my feet into my Crocs. I had to go to the bathroom, but I couldn't take a single step without support. So the nurse brought a thing that looked kind of like a walker. You step on it. This nurse puts the seat underneath you and rolls you to the restroom. You're holding onto this walker and you're sitting in this walker. I was trying to find a picture on the internet, but I just can't find the picture. I don't know what this thing is called. If I find this picture, I'll put it somewhere here. After that, I was making attempts to stand up, just to stand next to bed, and it was so difficult to do. I only managed to start walking the next day. My legs were still sort of numb. They felt really heavy. My body felt really heavy and really weak. And I was circling around this recovery room, trying to move as much as I could, because you should move as much as you can to avoid blood clots. So I was circling around this room, hunched over like a goblin. This was the second day after the surgery and the third day at the hospital. I really wanted to go home, to recover there, to have some rest, finally to have some rest, because everything was fine with my baby's tests and with my tests. They let us go home to recover there. And let me tell you, when we got home, it was so peaceful there. I didn't even know that our apartment was so quiet and peaceful. We were so exhausted and it felt so great to be in a quiet room without people coming in and out, without machines beeping. By the way, when I was discharged from the hospital, they brought a wheelchair into the postpartum recovery room, and I was wheeled on this wheelchair holding my baby to the car. But at the apartment complex, we don't have a wheelchair, so I had to walk from the parking lot to the apartment, and it was not easy. So yeah, we got home and now it was time to figure out how to breastfeed, how to take care of my baby, and also how to take care of my C-section and how to recover from the C-section, because I was not prepared for C-section recovery. I've seen a lot of videos about how much it costs to give birth in the US. I don't have an insurance. I didn't buy an insurance. I didn't want to pay every month to not use an insurance. So the plan was to just pay for the birth. And this hospital where I gave birth had a maternity package. So yeah, because I didn't have an insurance, I purchased a package. My hospital had 2 packages that I could choose from. I paid for a midwife package. There was also a hospital room package. The price depended on whether or not you're gonna have an epidural or C-section. I'll put the information somewhere here. Also, the package doesn't include blood work and ultrasounds, so that blood work, glucose test, and ultrasounds are not included. Those packages included staying at the hospital, giving birth, well baby care, midwife, doctors and nurses, assistants. I'm gonna put the prices here and I'm gonna calculate how much I paid overall. You've probably noticed that I look slightly different in several parts of this video. That is because I had some technical issues with the sound and with the picture, so I had to refilm some of the parts. Actually, the first half of the video was shot in one day, but half of that part was filmed in the morning and then the next part was filmed in the afternoon. I'm filming whenever my baby has his naps. And today I'm filming the second half of the video. So after 3 days of being at the hospital, I came back home and I was trying to figure out how to recover, how to breastfeed, how to take care of my newborn. Unless you've ever had a C-section or an abdominal surgery, you can't really be 100% prepared for what's waiting for you, and I was not prepared at all. I didn't know how to take care of the C-section, how to recover, which exercises to do, what not to do. nurses and doctors told me how to take care of it, how to clean it properly, and because I was so high at the hospital and I could not process the information, I could not remember anything that they were telling me. So I had to Google it all. I had dissolvable stitches on my C-section and I had a huge bandage on top of it. I had 2 postpartum appointments, one at 1 week and one at 6 weeks postpartum. At 1 week postpartum, my midwife took my bandage off. She checked on my C-section, checked how well I was recovering, answered my questions about labor, about breastfeeding. By the time I was 6 weeks, I felt a lot better and I felt like I didn't really need that appointment. So if your insurance doesn't cover 2 of the postpartum visits and only the 6 weeks postpartum appointment, schedule a 1 week postpartum appointment on your own. Believe me, even if your insurance doesn't cover it, it's worth it. The first couple of days home, I could barely walk and I was walking hunched over. I could not spend more than 5 minutes on my feet without needing to sit down and rest. By the time I was 5 or 6 weeks, I felt a lot better and I overworked myself. Because of that, I had a step back in my recovery. I started walking hunched over again. I had tightness in my muscles on the left side, and it took me probably 4 or 5 more weeks to recover again, not to walk hunched over and not to have any tightness in my abs. Before giving birth, I thought that the fact that I worked out during pregnancy, before pregnancy, would help me recover faster. Well, of course, I didn't think that I would end up having a C-section. But now, looking back at all of that, I'm not really sure why I was so confident that I would recover fast, because even small scratches take me weeks to heal. It is 3 hours later and I am back with another drink. I am back with Poppy. I usually drink coffee in the mornings and then during the day I either drink water or I drink Poppy, and I think I drink way too much Poppy. Anyways, my baby's down for his second nap of the day and I need to make sure that I finish filming this video today. So I was talking about my recovery, my postpartum recovery. After this pregnancy, I had diastasis recti. This is ab separation, and at around 2 months postpartum, I started doing recovery exercises. You probably can start doing them after week 6. I was not feeling great after week 6, as I told you before, so I waited a little bit longer to start doing them. These are the exercises that I've been doing. When I was only 2 months postpartum, I could not lift my legs without lifting them with my hands, with my arms. My abdominal muscles were so weak and I felt like I would never fully recover, like I would never gain my ab strength back. I'm not even talking about ab strength, I'm talking about the ability to do simple movements like raising your legs when you lie on your back or lifting yourself up. I really needed help to get up from this armchair because it's inclined. My abs, they were non-existent and it took me a while to gain my strength back. Ideally, when recovering, you're not supposed to bend over with weight. So you're not supposed to, for example, do RDLs or any other deadlift or bent over. But when you have a baby, that's kind of not realistic. You're always bending over, picking up your baby from the floor, from the bed, putting your baby on the bed, on the floor. So you're always up and down, up and down. And that's why it takes a little bit longer for you to recover. I'm not sure that my ab separation closed completely. I still have a slight abs separation. I think so. I probably need to go and have it checked. I had a 2 centimeters separation, which is not a big separation. There are several reasons why I'm focused on closing my ab separation. Reason number 1, health. I don't want my organs to be affected by this ab separation. The bigger the gap between your ab muscles, the less support your organs get. Reason number 2 is more of an aesthetic reason. I now have a slightly protruding belly. I've had a protruding belly for probably 4 years. I had a really flat stomach when I was underweight, and then when I started eating normally, I gained a little bit of weight and I had a little lower belly, which is completely normal. Now it's slightly bigger because of the ab separation. It's protruding. Starting month 2 and up until month 7, I only did ab separation workouts, and at month 7 I added at-home workouts. I tried getting back to the gym, and it's not as easy as you would think it is. You can't just put your baby, who is already 7 months, in the stroller and expect your baby to sit in a stroller and play for 40 minutes, for an hour, depending on how long your workout is. I don't have an at-home gym. I live in an apartment complex and we have a small gym here. I can't just bring my baby and put him on the floor to crawl around. I'm gonna have some help throughout the day soon, and I will definitely get back to the gym. I'm not gonna go as often as I used to. I used to go there 5 or 6 times a week. This was my hobby and I had plenty of time to go and work out. Now I'm only planning to go about 3 times a week. Another thing about postpartum that I wanted to mention, I knew that it's gonna happen. I didn't expect it to be that noticeable and strong, and I'm talking about sweat, night sweats, body odor. I just did not expect it to be like that, and it didn't matter what I did. I of course took showers every day. I of course had deodorant. Nothing helped. I could take a shower, dry up, and I still had this body odor. The reason why you smell after giving birth is simply for your baby to feel your smell and to easily find you, to easily identify you. That's why you smell after giving birth. I don't think that any deodorant will help. I think mixing the smell with perfume makes it even worse, so you just have to deal with it. And also night sweats. I've never experienced anything like that before. When I was preparing for my postpartum, I always heard that people are getting pajamas for their postpartum period, and I've never been someone who loved wearing pajamas with long pants and long sleeves. After giving birth, I realized why people had pajamas. Well, at least I really needed a pajama. The reason for that was because I was sweating while I was sleeping, and when I sat down to breastfeed, I was freezing. It's also because of the hormonal changes. So I was always freezing during the nights when I was breastfeeding. It was not cold at home. It was just me freezing all the time postpartum. I was cold and then I was hot again, and then I was cold again and hot again. And I was always putting pajama shorts on and off, my cardigan on and off. And I was especially freezing in the second half of the night because your body temperature tends to drop in the mornings, and because I was awake during the night, several times during the night, and then I was awake in the mornings breastfeeding, my body temperature dropped. I was freezing. I think I mentioned before, breastfeeding was not easy in the very beginning. I needed to learn how to do this. I tried pumping, but I was breastfeeding so much that I didn't have anything left to pump. even though I had a pump. And now I have more milk that I could have pumped, but I have a Spectra S1, I think it's S1 pump. You can carry it around your apartment, but it has tubes, and when your baby's constantly on the go, crawling, moving, and trying to grab everything, you don't really want to have a pump with tubes. It takes me quite a while to pump the amount of milk that I need to give him for one portion. That's why I'm thinking of getting those wearable pumps. I'm doing my research on which pumps to get because they're all so expensive, but I definitely need a wearable pump. Breastfeeding is difficult when your baby is a newborn and both of you don't know what exactly to do, how exactly to do it. Then breastfeeding gets a little bit easier up until the point when your baby starts teething. That's exactly why I'm thinking of starting pumping. The recovery was not only difficult physically, but also mentally. First of all, after giving birth, I, as many other moms, experienced baby blues. I cried a lot, I was very emotional. In addition to that, I don't really have any friends in New Orleans. I moved here when I was already pregnant, and I gave birth here. I stayed at home for the first several months. I don't have a car, I don't drive, so I can't really go to any park on my own. This is not how I imagined the life of a stay-at-home mom. I think that is because I got used to seeing moms with strollers walking around neighborhoods. I think it's very common in every European country for moms walk with strollers around their neighborhoods, go places, go grocery shopping by foot, not by car. Go grocery shopping, go to cafes. I recently seen a video, I think it was in Sweden. They had a nice cafe where you could come with your babies and chit chat with other moms. We have a playground here in the apartment complex for moms and kids to come and play. During this summer, I've met one mom with a baby close to my baby's age. I've met her once and I haven't seen her since that day. It's been almost 3 months. I walk with my baby every day. It's really hot. I understand summers in Louisiana are really hot and you don't really want to spend any time outside. Still, at least 5 minutes. You need to be outside with your baby for at least 5 minutes. My windows are facing the playground and I never see moms with kids there, even though I see baby stuff on people's balconies and I see car seats in the cars. Again, I'm gonna have some help really soon, so it's gonna be easier. I even started thinking of moving to New York just because it's a walkable city, but I just can't imagine living with a baby in New York. I know lots of people live there with babies. It's just hard to imagine what life is like with a baby in New York. At first I thought that it's me with my specific circumstances, being from another country and moving often from one city to another, not knowing anyone in this city. But actually lots of moms who were born in the United States, who stayed, for example, to live in their hometowns, also struggle with it. Some of them get pregnant and they're the first of their friend group and they lose their friends just because they can't hang out with them as often as they used to, or go places they used to go. I really think that in European countries it's a lot easier to find mom groups. You just open your door, go outside and meet those moms who live in your neighborhood. I was weighing myself and my doctors were weighing me during my pregnancy, and after I gave birth I didn't even think of my weight, of my diet, of anything. I just ate whatever we had. Cooking was difficult as well. I'm just getting back on track. It's been a chaos. I ate a lot of takeout. I ate a lot of sugar and things that are just not good for your body, processed sugar, things with corn syrup. I'm not happy about it because I know that these things are damaging my body, damaging my health. I really feel sluggish because of the way I eat. I'm not saying that I'm gonna go on a diet, it's just I need to get back on track, start eating healthy again. It's a lifestyle. I can see how poor eating habits affect my health. I feel weak, I feel sluggish, I'm always tired, and I know that it's just because of the way I eat. When I ate healthier, I felt better, and I really need to get back to eating healthy, stop eating all of that processed sugar. My baby woke up, so I'm gonna wrap it up. As a new mom, I'm still trying to figure everything out. Breastfeeding, starting solids, taking care of myself, changing from my pajamas into something more decent but still comfortable, doing my makeup at least once a week, washing my hair. By the way, I chopped my hair. I did it about 3 months ago. I filmed it and then I dropped my hard drive, so I don't have a video to show you, but yes, I chopped about 15, maybe 20, I think it's 15, 17 inches, and then I went to a hair salon to have it dyed. The first hair salon messed my hair up. They did it way too dark, something wrong with the toner. I went to another salon and they fixed my hair. It grew out again. I'm planning to schedule an appointment in 3 weeks. I need to call today or tomorrow. Today. I need to call and schedule an appointment to have my hair done. I'm trying to find my style, and I'm actually going to take you on this journey with me. This is going to be the next series that I am filming. And for now, it's gonna be it. I need to get my baby out of his crib and we're gonna go play. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!